What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another Prizepicks MLB player props video. This one going to be breaking it down, giving you guys a 6-pick flex that I did just barely lock in myself, that I did send over to my VIP members here for free on the channel. The same thing I did yesterday. Hopefully tune into the video. 5 for 6 on picks, man. Really solid. Talked about the value, why these plays were good plays. Talked about avoiding bumps. And literally, Jesus Luzardo and Marcus Stroman both ended with 17 outs even and got pulled before the 18. I talk about all the time avoiding bumps because these markets are so precise at nailing those numbers. There's literally two perfect examples that happened last night in Stroman and Luzardo. They were able to clear the 16.5 line, but had we gotten them at 17.5 or 17 even, they actually would have pushed. So if you tuned into the last video, I gave a lot of helpful hints as to what goes into succeeding long-term on Prizepicks. If you have not checked out Prizepicks, go ahead and check them out today, guys. Use that promo code KJKDFS when you sign up today to receive an instant match on your first deposit up to $100. We'll be breaking down the picks, all that goes into my process. Once again, like I said, same thing that went into these picks right here. 5 out of 6 is really good. It really stinks that Kikuchi let us down, man, but his pitch count just got out of control. There were like 30 pitches in the first inning, which is a big issue if you're targeting pitching outs. I discussed that. We really need quick outs, going right at guys, not walking guys, and not running up the pitch count, which I felt confident in these 6 guys to do so. 5 of the 6 came through, but unfortunately, Kikuchi let us down. But looking to get back into it today, guys. If you want to get access to every single one of my tickets as soon as I place them, check out the VIP member packet. It's going to be linked below in the description. These videos are simply me coming on and sharing one slip with you guys. Bumps are going to occur. Unfortunately, when you get good value, bumps are going to happen. You may not be able to get all of the plays that I'm able to get the same lines if you're not in the VIP. It's just part of the game, man. Unfortunately, these apps are not easy to beat. They change the lines up and down. It's how they stay in business. If they were easy to beat, everyone would just take them for all the money and they'd go bankrupt, all right? So we got to find the best edge at the right time to attack. But this is the best option for you if you're looking to do so. Find the best edge, and you get picks for all of my partnered apps, including Prizepicks, Underdog Fantasy, Better Picks, Parlay Play, and Sleeper, all right? So it's not just Prizepicks over there. You got a bunch of different apps last night. If you go over to my YouTube community page, you'll see all that's going on over there because I'm always sharing the tickets. Once again, this was on Underdog Fantasy and a 3-pick. They pay out 6x over there, so Underdog Fantasy is a fantastic app for 3-pick entries. And the same process that I'm about to discuss went into these, right? We had the Jesus Luzardo over 16.5 pitching outs over there. Paul Skeens over 17.5 pitching outs. We had the Brian Wu under 6.5 strikeouts. He ended up getting late scratched for an injury, unfortunately, so he didn't play. So it turned into a 2-pick, which is always sucks when that happens because it's not optimal and you can't cancel an Underdog, but hey, it cashed, so who cares? Skeens wasn't available on Prizepicks. That 17.5 line was only available over on Underdog, so that was some good value detected. So anyways, let's get into it. If you enjoy the content, I would be greatly appreciated if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. It's free. This content's free. It's completely free. I'm coming on trying to help you as much as I can, once again, for free. If you'd like to support the brand, the VIP is going to be the best place you can go to support the brand as far as contributing with money. However, it's completely free to leave a comment saying thank you or leave a like, all right? So that's also greatly appreciated. It doesn't cost you $1. Let's get into it. Let's go pick by pick as we always do. The first guy we're going to discuss is going to be David Peterson, 27.5 pitching for fantasy score. I like the over here. Taking on a team in the Miami Marlins today that are just not good against left-handed pitching on the season. David Peterson is a -148 favorite, so he is expected to get the win in this game, which is very important in the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format. For those of you that don't know what a win is in baseball, it is when the pitcher goes 5 or more innings, he exits the game with his team leading. His team does not give up the lead the rest of the game. So let's say they're up by 1 run, they have to keep that lead the rest of the game. If the other team ties it or goes ahead, he doesn't qualify for the win anymore. So we need him to go 5 or more innings. When he leaves the game, we need his team to be winning the game, and then we need them to keep that lead throughout the rest of the game. That's how you're going to get that win bonus that we're about to discuss here, right? For the pitcher fantasy score, you get 6 points for that win bonus we just discussed. 4 points for the quality start. A quality start is when a pitcher goes 6 or more innings and gives up 3 or less earned runs. They got to be earned runs. So there are things that occur in baseball where a player makes an error in the field, throws the ball away, etc. Then runs come in, but they're not earned runs, so we're not going to get the negative points, right? But if the pitcher gives it up, it's his fault. It's going to be -3 for every run he gives up. And then you get the +3 for the strikeouts and the +1 for the outs. So that's the combination of all of these factors is going to give us our final fantasy score on the pitcher fantasy score here today. And I should add, they don't add the winning quality start bonus oftentimes until after the game ends. So if he exits the game and they haven't quite added that additional 10 fantasy points, don't freak out, which I know you're going to because I still get it every day in my Discord and with people that watch the content of not understanding how that works, which I understand. Not everyone completely understands baseball, but just hang in there if he exits the game and he's still a little bit under. If he's still going to get those bonuses, he could go over. That's all factored into my picks here and the projections, all right? Maybe a little bit difficult to understand if you're just learning baseball, but anyways, the Miami Marlins, once again, are not good versus left-handed pitching. You can see their numbers up and down this lineup. They have, like, no power, really no average ability. About the only thing they got going for them is they don't strike out that much through the heart of the order, but outside of that, I mean, the last 30 days, it's really bad. Pretty much you got Dane Myers in the 1 spot and Josh Bell in the 3 spot to have any sort of power, and then they're still not hitting for very good average. So it's just a really good matchup here for David Peterson, who's a guy that just kind of came back from injury. We're looking at a 34 at-bat sample size versus right-handed hitting. We certainly want to make sure that he's running his pitch count up, obviously, if a guy's just coming back from injury. We do want to be checking in on that pitch count, see where it's at. He threw 86 in the first game and then 81 in the second game, but he was very efficient in both of those games, going 5 innings in that first. Makes sense. You know, he's just coming back off that injury. They're probably going to pull him a little bit earlier. And then the second one, the pitch count didn't get up there, but he just threw so efficiently. I mean, he worked his way through 6.2 innings, so it's kind of to be determined as far as like how long they're really going to let him go here. But I can tell you, I've got him projected out there and throw 93 pitches, so I think he gets up into the 90s here in this spot. If he does so, I mean, this fantasy score is really low on Prizepicks. We talked about him being a heavy favorite. We talked about the good matchup. Last thing I can mention is it's in New York as far as the hitting environment. With it being a pitcher fantasy score, we have to really be factoring in all this stuff because, like I said, the earned runs are negative points and stuff. So we would like to be targeting pitchers in good pitching environments. In Citi Field, the Mets' home stadium is one of the best pitching environments in baseball. You can see a lot of red going on here for hitting numbers, which is fantastic for pitchers, obviously, right? Pretty much the entire field's red. It's just not the greatest of hitting ballparks. So these are all great things for David Peterson to rack up a good fantasy score here tonight. And last but not least, if we go ahead and pull up the Daily Math Fantasy Optimizer, for those of you that are not familiar with this tool, guys, go ahead and use promo code KJKDFS to get 25% off this if you're interested in this tool. It's going to be very helpful for helping you find optimal props. And they're giving this a 54.39% chance to hit, which is really, really good. You can see it's in the green here. DraftKings has him projected to end with 29.2 fantasy points based upon all of the different Vegas lines they have set for him. And Bovada has him projected to end with 30.2 fantasy points. So we have so many data points pointing towards David Peterson being a good play here. Good matchup. The Marlins have been bad. He's heavily favorited. Obviously, we just talked about that sportsbook data. So I like David Peterson's over here for Wart pick number 1. Pick number 2 is going to be a similar story here. Good matchup, heavily favorited pitcher with some really good stuff. Sonny Gray taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates started out the season really hot. They have not been too hot as of late. I can tell you that much. They're really starting to cool down. The lineup has not been performing all that well. And if we go ahead and break down their numbers, so on the current season, you can see like pretty respectable across the board here. You look at the green going on, but then we go to the last 30 days. Still some guys in for some power, but the strikeout rates are really starting to climb up, which is going to be an issue when you're taking on a guy in Sonny Gray who has some really good K stuff. Like the beginning of the year, they weren't striking out nearly as much. Sonny Gray's a guy that rocks a 29.5% K rate versus lefties and a 35.9% K rate versus righties. So he's got really good K stuff. He's looked phenomenal this season. Really the only thing as of late has been a bit of a walk issue to left-handed bats. If we go ahead and break down how many left-handed bats he's going to face here against the Pirates. You can see 1 in the 2 spot, 2, 3, and 4. So it's going to be 5 righties, 4 lefties, facing more righties than left-handed bats. We love that. And once again, like, shocker, if I'm targeting a pitcher's over, I really want him to be heavily favored because we want him to get that win bonus, okay? It's important. Like, that's a whole nother 10 points you can get if the pitcher gets the quality start, he goes 6 or more innings, and gets the win. It's going to be 6 points for that win, 4 points for the quality start. So we really want to give ourselves the best possible chance to get that if we're targeting an over on a starting pitcher's fantasy score prop, all right? So it's a similar story here. Good matchup, heavy favorite. And then once again, good pitching environment. St. Louis, we can go ahead and pull up the home ballpark for the St. Louis Cardinals, Busch Stadium. You can see, I mean, outside of triples and singles, it really doesn't play friendly, and it's not too good for home runs, which is, I mean, the MLB's kind of become more of a home run hitting league, right? So you really prefer those ballparks that keep the ball in the yard, with all of these pitchers starting to be a little bit more go right at him strikeout guys, but Sonny Gray doesn't really give up a lot of hard contact as is. So, I mean, this guy's just really good. Definitely think he's going to have a good outing here. He's had a couple of down outings as of late. The Rockies, the Phillies. I think this is a great bounce back spot for him. And if we look at his recent game logs, like, just kind of give you an idea of what the guy's capable of, right? Like throughout the season, 86, 89 pitches the last couple of times out, only 5 and 4.2. The start of the season, this guy was just dominating, like 12 strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts through 6, just 6 to 9 strikeouts, 6, 7, 8, 9 strikeouts, 6 innings pitched, and then the win is what you're expecting here for Sonny Gray. And I mean, I've got him projected to pitch very well here tonight, like 6 or 7 strikeouts, go deep into the 5th, if not 6 innings, like I said, and then get the win. We really want that quality start, the 6+ innings, the strikeouts, and he should be able to hit this line for us tonight. So that'll be pick number 2. And pick number 3, we can make it kind of quick because it's going to be a similar story in the pitcher fantasy score. So we've already discussed all these concepts of wanting guys to be good in matchups, wanting guys in good pitching environments, wanting guys that are taking on weak opposing lineups. And Bryce Miller is certainly going to fall into that category as well. For number 3, he's taking on the White Sox. The White Sox stink. They have gotten a little bit more healthy recently, so they're not quite as bad as they were early in the season because they have gotten back Gavin Sheets, Andrew Vaughn. But still, I mean, you guys see the numbers. 27% K rate, 32%, 25%, 42%, 36% K rate. Really, there's only a couple threats in this lineup. It's Luis Robert here in the 3 spot. It's Gavin Sheets in the 4 spot. Those are, I mean, naturally, the 3 and 4 hitters are oftentimes going to be 2 of the best hitters in a lineup in the MLB, but being that the White Sox overall are just not a good team, I'm not too concerned here. And Bryce Miller on the season, he really does struggle versus left-handed bats. That's his issue. So once again, we'd prefer not for him to be facing a lot of lefties that are a big threat. And like I just discussed, there's really only one. It's Gavin Sheets in that 4 spot. Outside of him, you got Nicky Lopez in the 2 spot and Colas in the 8 spot, but that's literally only 3 lefties. And I mean, Colas and Nicky Lopez kind of stink, right? So it's really just Gavin Sheets. We need him to pitch around, not get burnt by him. We feel really confident, heavy favorite, right? All these concepts, 240 and great pitching environment. We'll go to the Seattle Mariners. They have T-Mobile Park as their home ballpark, which is once again a great pitching environment. You can see all this red going on for hitters. It's just not a friendly place to be hitting. So it's a ballpark downgrade for the White Sox. Miller gets a great ballpark to pitch in, a great matchup, and he's heavily favored. He should be able to pick up the win in the quality start. Bonuses is the hope here, which will make him surpass. As you can see, he put up 55 and 40 against Houston the times prior before facing Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals are a much, much better offense than the Chicago White Sox he's facing tonight. All right, so just you got to factor in the matchups, okay? People, him getting -3 last time against the Royals isn't exactly an indicator of how he's going to perform in this matchup against like a borderline AAA White Sox lineup. So we like him for number 3. So we got 3 over fantasy scores. One of the plays I liked did get bumped, the Logan Webb pitching outs. So, I mean, he's going to start early, but, I mean, this is the full 6-pick flex I got locked in here. You can see I did get Logan Webb at 18.5 pitching outs. That was where the value was. Unfortunately, he's gotten bumped up, so, like, I wouldn't play that anymore. Just kind of sucks. Like, this is why I have the VIP service where I send it in right away, because this is going to happen all the time. So you're able to beat those bumps. It just unfortunately, like I said, these apps are very quick. So, but anyways, the last 2 that you can get in still is going to be the Christopher Sanchez over 5.5 strikeouts and the Reese Olson over 17.5 pitching outs. Sanchez gets one of the best possible matchups you could ask for strikeouts for left-handed pitching on the season against the Red Sox. I just targeted this spot not too long ago, it seems, with Max Fried. And Max Fried's like kind of the same pitcher as Christopher Sanchez a little bit. Like they're both really effective left-handed pitchers that have really good high ground ball rates and limit hard contact. Like, but they don't have the best K stuff. And Fried went out there and struck out like 10 Red Sox. Like, it was ridiculous. I mean, they're just that bad against left-handed pitching. Look at these strikeout rates: 25%, 28%, 32%, 34%, 50, 23, 31. So it's really the matchup here. Sanchez, I mean, he's got a respectable strikeout rate at 20% K rate versus righties, but it's nothing spectacular. But then you factor in this matchup, and it's just such a big K boost for those left-handed pitchers. The last 30 days, it's ridiculous. Connor Wong, Westbrook, and Hamilton are really the only three that aren't striking out. So Sanchez K prop's going to be one I'm going to be discussing here. We can go ahead and pull up some market data for you guys on the OddsJam Sportsbook screen. This is a beautiful tool to be scanning the market and seeing all of the different sports books where they have these lines set, right, guys? This is another tool I'm using along with that DGF optimizer I discussed. And we're looking at a bunch of markets on Christopher Sanchez and a bunch favoriting his over. We got Circa with -130 on the over. They're a pretty sharp sports book here. Pinnacle -126, 128 on FanDuel, 125 on DraftKings. He's all the way up to 133 on Caesars. Right, so all of these different sports books are favoring his over. We talked about those underlying metrics. That's what I'm looking at. I'm also wanting to look at the market data because oftentimes, guys, the market data is going to reflect this, right? The market's just faster at factoring in all these things we're talking about. The strikeout rate of the opposing team, the strikeout rate of the starting pitcher, like it's all reflected in these lines. So that's why I'm looking at these, and then you can fact check, you know, with your other processes, and you can look at the stats underneath them. But I mean, a lot of people are looking at useless stats. -143 on the over on Sleeper. Just a ton of different markets saying he should be priced at higher than -119, which is what we're getting in a 5 or 6 pick flex on Prizepicks. So we're getting a good deal. We'd have to go all the way up to, like I said, like a -133 on Caesars, a -137 here on Bally Bet. So we'll go ahead and take the good value that we're getting at -119 on Prizepicks. A bunch of different things pointing to him being a good play. We got the market data. We got the underlying metrics. We got this terrible Red Sox lineup that just strikes out a ton. And once again, you look at his last 5. He's only gone over in 2 of them, but he's just not a heavy strikeout guy. And this line's going to be set higher in this matchup than it would typically if he was facing another team that doesn't strike out as much. So it's all factored in here, people. These last 5 charts are so misleading. These mean nothing. So just keep that in mind. And then our last guy's going to be Reese Olson, pitching outs. I talked about it in my last video, so if you tuned in, you know, keep the pitch count low, target guys, don't walk guys, and that's what we're looking at for a pitching out prop. Reese Olson over 17.5. We're also looking at some good market data for him, but we can pull up this matchup, how he's expected to fare out here. You can see Reese Olson taking on the Washington Nationals. They're pretty average team here. And Reese Olson, all he does is throw strikes and limit hard contact and ground balls. That's all this guy does. Like, his strikeout rate's only a 22.7% K rate versus those lefties, a 19% K rate versus righties. But all of the other underlying metrics are really good. So that's great. This tells us he's just going to go at guys, pitch to contact, and get outs, which is exactly what we want when we're targeting the over pitching outs. And once again, we want a good matchup. Like, its Nationals are a pretty underwhelming team here. You're not seeing a lot of bright green on my screen, which indicates really good hitters. And then last but not least, I mean, the ballpark for pitching outs is still a little significant, not quite as much as the fantasy score, but right, we want those quick outs. So any sort of good pitching environment we'll take. And Detroit is pretty good overall for pitching outside of the left field line, but still, honestly, the 420 to straightaway center, like, Detroit's pretty solid for pitching. I mean, it's certainly a lot better than some of these other ballparks you're going to be pitching in, such as like a Coors Field that got pulled up here, where it's just terrible. So, do expect him to get 17.5 or more. And obviously, once again, we want to be looking at the pitch count. We want this guy to be throwing as many pitches as possible if we're targeting the over here on Olson. And can see, I don't know, he's not selected here as the probable pitcher or something on this screen. This is a wrong slate pulled up, so it's not going to let me. But anywho, Reese Olson, latest projection on him from a pitch count aspect. I got him projected for 94 pitches, so expect him to throw in the mid-90s. Should help him surpass this. And last but not least, we can go ahead and pull up the DGF optimizer again to pull up some market data, tell us what the market is telling us on Reese Olson. You can see the best possible prop you can take on the board for him. is going to be the over 17.5 pitching outs because it is going to hit at a 52.92% hit rate according to them. Minus 134 on the over on Pinnacle, minus 128 on the over on FanDuel, minus 130 on the over on DraftKings. He's all the way up to minus 145 on BetMGM. So you'd have to risk $145 to win 100 over there. All these markets are telling us he is expected to go over the 17.5 pitching outs here tonight. So that's going to be my full 6-pick flex to share with you guys on the free content today. Once again, same process that one of these picks yesterday. Hopefully you tuned into that video. I helped you out for free. If you'd like to get access to every single one of my tickets as soon as I place them, such as this one that we just broke down, go ahead and huddle over to the Patreon. It will be linked below in the description. Once again, guys, you get all my picks for all sports, all apps that I cover as soon as I place them. So as far as these DFS props apps, Prizepicks, Underdog Fantasy, Better Picks, Parlay Play, Sleeper, they're getting sent in as soon as I place them over there immediately so you can beat these bumps. Like I said, unfortunately, Logan Webb, in this example, 18.5. He's now been bumped up to 19.5. So I'm just giving you the free picks. I only promote plays I'm actually playing, but unfortunately, you can't get that play anymore. And I wouldn't recommend you take him at 19.5. It's really not smart to be playing bumps. I pulled up that example at the beginning of the video about how Luzardo and Stroman barely cleared yesterday. That's going to happen all the time. It's just how precise the odds are, the lines, the markets, okay? So all that stuff I discussed about the sports books and the lines shifting, where there's edge, right? The edge is in where the line is at currently that I'm promoting on the channel. So just keep that in mind. Thanks for tuning in. Wishing you all the best of luck on your Prizepicks MLB player props tonight. We will see you in the next one.